Okay, so for the next module, we'll be discussing water resources on Earth. Okay, so water simply, di ba, like we studied in module 1 and the past modules, this is the first thing na hinahanap ng scientists when looking for life forms in other planets. So bakit ba sobrang importante ng water sa um, life, no? So doon sa na-discuss sa module, sa past module, nabanggit doon that water serves as the solution kung saan na-dissolve yung mga nutrients. So it mostly transport nutrients from different places dun sa planet as well as sa mismong system or katawan ng organism. Water din yung isa sa mga primary na pag-transport ng nutrients kasi most ng mga substances ay nadidissolve sa water. Okay, so most, so not all. Okay, so simply water is composed of two elements, oxygen and hydrogen. Okay, two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. Kaya po naging H2O. Okay, so it's a polar molecule and also considered as a polar solvent. Okay, so ba't siya naging polar? So although siya ay, di ba, parang sinasabi natin yung polarity, it's because of the uneven distribution ng charges. So, ba't kaya siya naging uneven? Kasi if we notice dito sa ating water, yung mostly negative ay nahanap dito sa oxygen side. Okay, yung most na negative na charges nahanap dito sa oxygen side. While yung hydrogen, nahanap lang siya dito sa both sides na to. Tapos, naging parang bent yung kanyang structure because bawal magdikit tong dalawang to, yung dalawang hydrogen atoms. Kaya, dahil same charges sila, kaya nag-repel. So, di bali, nagkaroon sila ng distance with each other. Kaya, hindi siya yung parang linear tignan or hindi siya yung, hindi siya linear tignan. Ang nangyayari, medyo nag-bend yung dalawang hydrogen atoms. So, it's because of the charges nga no, both. Okay, so naging polar kasi nga uneven yung distribution. And if i-compute mo din yung electronegativity ng both elements pag pinagsama mo, mas malaki talaga yung sa oxygen. So, ang mangyayari nun, malaki yung difference na nakikreate niya. So, nagiging polar na molecule siya. Okay? So, it's considered as a universal solvent, again, because most of the substances can be dissolved in water. Most, pero not all. So, yung ibang exceptions dito, of course, are the lipids o yung mga fat natin, ganyan. They can't be dissolved in water or immiscible sila dun sa water. No? Okay. So, ano pa yung mga unique na properties ng water? So, water is unique in the sense that it can actually form a bond. It can actually form a bond with itself, di ba? Water can form a bond with another water molecule. So, paano kaya nangyari yun? Because, again, it has two charges available, a negative and a positive charge. So, for the hydrogen atom, pwedeng mag-attach ulit dyan ng isa pang water molecule because may negative na part ulit yung water molecule na yun. So, it can form a bond with the hydrogen molecule. So, itong isa pang hydrogen molecule, hydrogen atom. So, isa pa tong water, for example, isang water pa, pwede siyang mag-bond with the other water molecule because it has different charges. So, dito din sa isang hydrogen, pwede din mag-attach pa ng isa pang water molecule dyan. So, for example, ito namang oxygen na to, naka-attach din yan originally, for example, sa isa pang water molecule. Okay, so pwede siyang magkaroon ng bond with itself. Kaya nga naging unique term doon is it's a hydrogen bond. So may hydrogen bond siya na nako-form sa sarili niya. Okay? So yung iba't ibang properties ng water, this is mostly due to hydrogen bonds. Okay, mostly due to hydrogen bonds. So to be specific, for example, water can cohese, di ba? Water can cohese because it forms hydrogen bonds with other water molecules nga, no? It can also adhere to other substances or other compounds or other surfaces because dalawa yung charge niya. So kung yung kakapitan man niya or yung pag-aadheran niya ay negative or positive, nakadepende na lang kung anong orientation ng water molecule yung mangyayari. So kung positive siya, yung oxygen yung naka-attach or naka-adhere, pag naman siya ay positively charged, yung kakapitan, pag siya naman ay negatively charged, yung nakakapitan, ang orientation naman ng water molecule is yung hydrogen bonds yung naka-attach dun sa pag-a-adhere niya. Okay, so basically, ganun yung properties niya. So, cohesion adhesion, this is important in a lot of things. For example, for plant transport, for the nutrient transport and water transport in plants, it usually utilizes cohesion and adhesion. So, since plants are the primary producers in most of our ecosystems here on Earth, isa yun sa mga unique properties ng water na nagbigay ng ability para mag-thrive yung ecosystem na yun, for example. Okay, so that's for cohesion and adhesion. For example naman, temperature regulation. This is also due to the hydrogen bonds. Water, we call it, water has what we call a high heat capacity, meaning it can resist changing its temperature by 1 degree Celsius. Basta parang kumbaga yung energy yung energy na kaya niyang tanggapin, medyo mataas. Okay, medyo mataas. Medyo mataas yung kailangan para mag-raise siya ng temperature by 1 degree Celsius. Yun yung tinatawag na heat capacity. Basically, kaya niya mag-resist ng heat changes. Okay, kaya niya mag-resist ng heat changes at some degree. Okay, at some degree, hindi ko sinasabing kaya niya na talagang mag-resist ng pagtaas ng heat at all. It can resist heat by some degree. So bakit kaya nagkaroon ng heat capacity? Bakit kaya nagkaroon ng mataas na heat capacity yung water? Again, this is because of hydrogen bonds. Usually, if heat will act upon let's say a solution, ang nata-target niya usually, 'di ba, is of course yung mga actual na molecules or atoms. So kung yung molecules na yun tinatamaan siya ng heat, tataas yung kinetic energy niya, mas gagalaw siya. So, pag mas gumalaw-galaw na siya, mas tataas yung temperature. So, since si water, kaya niyang mag-form ng hydrogen bonds with sa kapwa niya iba pang water molecules, yung unang natatarget ng heat is yung bond. Okay? Hindi yung mismong molecule. So, hindi pa gumagalaw yung molecule. Ang nabe-break pa lang ng heat is yung hydrogen bonds. Hindi pa niya napapataas yung energy ng molecule. Hence, hindi direct yung effect ng heat sa water because of the presence of hydrogen bonds. So after ma-break nung hydrogen bonds, pag tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung heat energy, tsaka pa lang magkakaroon ng chance na mapataas mo yung temperature ng tubig. So at that degree, kayang mag-regulate ng water ng temperature. Kaya niya mag-resist ng temperature changes. Okay, so magandang malaking aspect din yun ng life sa Earth because a lot of our cells, a lot of our bodies, yung mga bodies ng iba't ibang organisms, they also rely on regulating heat, di ba? Kailangan nilang mag-maintain ng heat because of homeostasis, di ba? They have to maintain heat because of homeostasis. And basically, basically, you can regulate temperature using water din, di ba? So, for example, sa humans, this is sweating. Okay, that's one example of regulating temperature using water. Okay, so let's move. Okay, so let's move to the distribution of water on our planet, di ba? Kasi this is the main topic for our discussion. So, na-realize na natin yung importance ng tubig, gaano siya ka-importante sa buhay, okay, gaano siya ka-importante sa buhay. So, ngayon, tignan natin, gaano ba kadami yung pwede nating magamit na tubig? Okay, gaano kadami yung pwede nating magamit na tubig? So, for example, sa surface ng Earth, okay, di ba? We also have land on our Earth's surface, but most of it is composed of water. To be specific, it's 71% water. Okay? And out of this 71%, di ba? Yung surface covered with 71% water. Yung 71% na water dun sa surface, 97.5% doon ay oceans. Okay? So, oceans yung 97.5% doon sa lahat ng tubig sa surface ng planet natin. Okay, so ano lang dito yung fresh water? Okay, ano lang dito yung fresh water? We only have 2.5%. Okay, 2.5% lang dun sa 97.5 yung fresh water. Yun lang po yung hindi salty kasi 'di ba yun yung fresh water. It's not dissolved. Ay wala siyang salt na compound na kasama. As opposed to salt water, yun, may kasama na siyang NaCl. Dito, ano lang talaga siya, wala siya kasamang salt. Okay, so doon sa 2.5% na fresh water, 2.1% doon ay nasa form ng ice. Saan natin mahanap to? Dun sa mga poles natin, sa opposite poles natin, yung mga glaciers, doon nahanap yung 2.1% ng fresh water. So ilan na lang natira? 0.4%. So basically, yung 0.4%, ito lang yung usable fresh water natin. Ito lang yung magagamit natin fresh water. Ano tong mga to? Saan siya nag-a-account? Ito po siya. Ito yung nag-a-account sa mga fresh water natin. Usable fresh water natin rather. So, nasa mga lakes, mga wetlands, rivers. Okay, yung iba nasa atmospheres, yung iba nasa katawan ng plants and animals. Okay? Okay, so basically dito naman, sa water cycle, dito sinasabi lang yung paano ba nakaapekto tong cycle na to sa distribution ng water sa mga lugar, ano? So if water cycle is influenced by two factors, evaporation and precipitation. Gaano kabilis na natuturn yung water into vapor and gaano din kabilis na babalik yung gas o yung vapor into precipitation or into back to water, di ba? Kasi most precipitation is rain, so that is liquid water. Pero some precipitation, di ba, it's also in the form of ice. Okay, so basically, evaporation and precipitation, these two factors mostly influence yung distribution ng tubig sa isang lugar. Bakit ganun yung nangyari, sir? For example, it has higher rates of evaporation pero lower rates of precipitation. So, ibig sabihin, mas mabilis maubos yung tubig dun kesa ma-replenish. So, yung lugar na yon magkakaroon siya ng medyo scarcity sa distribution ng tubig. For example naman, mababa yung rate of evaporation pero mataas yung precipitation. So, pag ganun yung nangyari sa isang lugar, basically yung mangyayari doon is magkakaroon sila ng oversupply ng tubig or medyo bahain sa kanila, for example. Kunyari, ganun. Okay, so those are the factors that can affect the distribution of water. Ano pa ba yung naka-apekto sa evaporation and precipitation? Yung topography niya o yung geography niya, yung temperature. Okay, yun yung mga bagay na naka-apekto dito sa dalawang factors na to. Pero madami pa. Okay, there are a lot of factors. So, itong dalawang processes na to, ito yung mostly talagang nagdidikta ng characteristic ng freshwater distribution or ng distribution ng tubig sa lugar na yun. Okay, so, simulan natin dito sa evaporation. So, water evaporates, it turns into vapor. Okay, it goes up kasi magiging less dense din siya, no? So, pag siya ay napunta na sa atmosphere or napunta na siya sa sky, eventually it will turn into some form of precipitation. So, pwedeng rain, pwedeng drizzle, pwedeng siya ay snow or hail. Those are also types of precipitation. So, babagsak ulit si tubig, papalik sa land, okay, in any form of precipitation. So, basically, pag bumagsak na siya sa land, pwede ka nang magkaroon ng mga recharges o yung pag-infiltrate ulit ng tubig sa lupa para dito sa groundwater. Okay, tapos magkakaroon ka ng runoff. Yung runoff basically yung pag daloy ng tubig from a landform to a body of water. So pwede magkakaroon ng runoff. So yun nga yung nabanggit natin sa quiz B last time, no, sa Jeopardy. Pwedeng magdala siya ng mga chemicals or pwede siyang magdala ng mga other compounds na nahanap sa lupa papunta dito sa tubig. So magkakaroon din ng effect yun. Okay? So ganun lang yung pinaka-cycle niya. Pero yung evaporation, it does not only occur doon sa large body of water. It can also occur in plants, ganyan, in the land. Okay, water can also evaporate in land surfaces, in plants in the form of evapotranspiration. Diba? Nagka-transpire kasi yung plants. They release water outside their bodies then. So that's also a factor that we need to consider in the water cycle. So basically, ganun yung nangyayari. Ito dito, yung waters in glaciers, pwede din siya mag-run off. Kasi pag natunaw, for example, magkakaroon ng run off from the body of land papunta dun sa tubig ulit. So, ganun po yung ating water cycle. Medyo madali lang naman po siya intindihan. Very simple. Okay? So, let's have a short activity. And this is also found in your module. So, I know some of you tried to answer this then. Okay? So, I will allow you guys to annotate. I think you can annotate naman pala. Okay, so can someone answer number 1? Pwede you can use the annotate button if you just want to write the answer. Okay, so Number 1, it stores and contains the largest amount of surface fresh water. So ano kaya to? It stores and contains the largest amount of surface fresh water. So ano kaya yung may largest amount dyan ng surface fresh water? Sige nga. Can anyone answer?
Sir, lake po.
Annotate mo. Annotate mo. Can you annotate? Para lang matry natin. Yung pagsulat, yon. Si Zai, tinatry niya na. Sino sumagot kanina? Sorry.
Gaston po, sir.
Okay, Gaston, sige, you can try to annotate. Use the annotate button.
Saan po, sir?
Ayan, si Mahathir, sumasagot na, si Archie Bucci. Yun, very good. So number 4, sinagutan niya, this water with low salt concentrations and which comprises 2.5% of Earth's water. So fresh water. Okay. Nakikita niyo yung mga buttons ng chat, participants, yung mga ganon. Merong button doon for annotation.
Sir, ano po? Para po sa mga, sa akin po wala din. Nasa view options po siya.
Okay, sorry. Sige, thank you, Zai. Okay, so number 2, may sumagot na ulit si Miss Lay. Okay, it is found underground which comprises of 96% of all fresh water. Very good, groundwater. Number 3, sorry, hindi ko nakita sumagot. Covers 71% of the Earth's surface. That's correct, water. Number 6, river. Very good. It is a source of easily accessible fresh water for drinking or agricultural use and contains data for yearly or seasonal variations. Very good, river. That is also correct. Okay, number 1, lake, sumagot na. It stores and contains largest amount of surface fresh water. That is correct. Thank you. Glacier, Brian, that is correct. Unusable fresh water found in countries with low temperature climates. Okay, very good. Glaciers for number 5. And lastly, number 7, it holds a small volume of Earth's total fresh water, which includes rivers, ponds, lakes, and reservoirs. This is surface water by Daniel. Okay, thank you so much sa mga nag-participate. Very good po. So, tama. Checkan natin para ano. Okay, let's check. Ang galing ko mag-check, di ba? Okay, yan. Very good. Okay, thank you so much sa nag-participate. So, clear lang natin yan. Okay, so the freshwater distribution. Let's look at now the freshwater distribution kasi 'di ba we talked about the importance of water. So mas ma-highlight natin ngayon yung importance ng fresh water, which is yung kaya talaga nating inumin, kaya nating gamitin for different purposes, for different applications in our lives. Okay, so kasi tayo we usually take water for granted. A lot of us actually takes water for granted, di ba? Kumbaga, di natin iniisip na madami na pala talaga tayo nasasayang sa sarili natin. But again, don't blame yourself too much if a lot of our fresh water is slowly depleting because of course, may efforts yung yung small efforts natin makakatulong yun. Pero in its entirety, there's a larger problem din kasi with different industries din na gumagamit ng water as one of their kumbaga parang ingredients for producing something, okay? Or sa mga processes nila, ganyan. So, may ano din yun, may effect din kasi yun sa distribution and sa availability ng tubig na magkakaroon tayo. Okay, kasi 'di ba, some places they really don't have any water, but for some places naman natitake siya for granted, medyo sinasayang, ganyan. So, dapat medyo naisip din natin yun na that some places actually don't have access to fresh water. So, we should think about that, di ba? So, freshwater distribution. Okay, we have 2 types of freshwater, surface water and groundwater. So, of course, surface water is those found in the surface, while groundwater are those found under, okay, under the surface. Okay, what are examples for surface water? These are lakes, ponds, rivers, wetlands. Okay, so for example, we have here on the picture sa rightmost, okay, that is Taal. Okay, that is Taal Lake. So if you've been to Taal or saan ba to? I think this is near Laguna. Tama ba? Parang medyo malapit nata sa Laguna yan or something. So dito sa Taal Lake, isa to sa mga famous na lakes na meron sa Philippines, no? So this serves as one of the largest na reservoir or parang stock natin of surface fresh water. So, totoo naman yun because the lake is in itself is just like this big basin, di ba? It's a big basin which contains fresh water. Ba't siya naging fresh water? Kasi wala nang way para mag-enter yung salt water dyan. So basically, nadidilyute yung tubig sa loob ng lake. Kasi kakaulan. So dagdag lang ng dagdag ng fresh water doon sa um, lake, no? Para siyang basin nga, parang bowl. So just a fun fact about the Taal Lake. Kaya 'di ba, alam niyo ba yung famous na isda na nahanap sa Taal Lake? Ano yung famous na isda na nahanap sa Taal Lake? Hindi nyo alam yung famous na isda na nahanap sa Taal Lake? Okay. Sa Tagaytay, nakakain nyo siya? I think, yeah, sa Tagaytay ko siya nakain eh. Tagaytay. Tapos, minsan fina-fry lang siya with like breading or something like that.
Sweet tawilis, sir.
Yes, very good. That's tawilis. Okay, Sardinella tawilis or tawilis itself. It's the only freshwater sardine. Sa buong mundo, it's the only freshwater sardine. Kasi halos lahat ng lahat ng sardine species natin, they are saltwater or salt-loving. Pero itong Sardinella tawilis, it is the only sardine that is found in freshwater. So, ang nangyari daw kasi noon, parang before mag-close yung lake, open talaga siya to the seawater. Pero nung nagkaroon nga ng explosion, nagkaroon ng separation yung salt water doon sa water na nasa loob ng niyang crater na yan. So, eventually, kakaulan ng kakaulan, naging freshwater yung composition ng water na nandyan dun sa lake, no? So, yung mga dating sardinella or sardines na salt-loving, due to time, na-select yung characteristic na kayang mabuhay sa freshwater. So, slowly na-dilute slowly nag-evolve yung sardine into a freshwater sardine. Okay? So, it took up years. Hindi siya biglaan, ha? It took up years bago nagkaroon ng species na yun. Okay? So, kasi nga, evolution does not happen overnight. Hindi naman nag-evolve yung isda to adapt to a freshwater environment. Nagkaroon ng selection. Okay? Nagkaroon ng selection for that trait. Okay? So, we also have here river. Of course, our famous river, Marikina River, diba? So, that's also one part of the surface water distribution. So, nag-rotate din ang surface water sa ating rivers. Though, again, this is also one of the bodies of water na nane-neglect din ng mga tao. So, it has a lot of potential. It has a lot of things it can give us. But again, yun nga, because of mismanagement din and siguro discipline na din, di ba? Medyo hindi na natin siya nagamit. And still classified as, I forgot the classification, I'm sorry. But it's still classified, I think, as kumbaga parang slowly dying or the stage where the river is almost dead or considered dead. Okay? So groundwater, again, this is fresh water found under the surface. So basically, ito yung mga hinuhukay pa, like yung mga nasa balon natin, yung sa mga poso, these are groundwater. Okay? So groundwater has two types, renewable and non-renewable. If the reservoir can be replenished, ibig sabihin, precipitation or rain can infiltrate the reservoir, pwede siyang tumagos dun sa reservoir para ma-replenish siya. It's called renewable. So pwede natin siya magamit over time, okay? Non-renewable, on the other hand, these are reservoirs which cannot be replenished. So basically, the precipitation cannot infiltrate papunta dun sa reservoir. Hindi siya naabutan ng reservoir. So meaning, yung water na nandun sa reservoir, yun na yung pwede na lang natin magamit. So kung ilan mang gallons yun or ilan man yung volume nun, that's the final volume that we can harvest from that groundwater source. Okay? So what are some ways for us to conserve fresh water? Okay, what are some ways for us to conserve fresh water in our planet? Okay, so again, these are ways that you can do, but there are still like bigger problems which we need to face para talagang ma-conserve and protect talaga natin ang ating fresh water. But we can start with ourselves. Okay, we can always start with ourselves. So what can we do bilang tayo ay tagapangalaga ng ating planet, di ba? So, we can use less, okay? Use less water. So, we can conserve water by turning the faucet off, di ba? Ipapatay natin yung faucet kapag tayo ay naghuhugas or tayo ay nagbabrush ng ngipin natin. So, a lot of, siguro you've noticed that some people, they leave the sink open or the faucet open habang nagbabrush sila. So, that's just a waste of water kasi wala ka namang ginagawa eh. Ba't siya naka-open, di ba? So, pag naghugas din, tapos nagsasabon ng kamay, naka-on din ulit yung faucet. So, bakit? May hinuhugasan ba? Ba't siya naka-on? So, that's wasteful acts, di ba? So pag wawash din ng car, 'di ba? It is also recommended na gawin mo na lang 'to kapag umuulan para madali at kumbaga tipid ka din sa tubig kasi mahal siya kapag yung gumastos ka talaga ng hose, kapag yung pinaliguan mo yung kotse, medyo magastos talaga yun. Okay? So that's how we use less water. Next, keep toxic or poisonous or harmful substances out of the water. So yung mga chemicals like pesticides, yung mga pharmaceuticals, yung mga ganyan, we should practice na hindi dapat tinatapon yun sa sink. Actually, sa lab, hindi kami nagtatapon talaga ng chemicals sa sink, ng ganun-ganun lang. Usually, if it's a chemical na hindi ko alam or hindi ko alam yung pwede maging effect sa environment or sa mga pipes ng school, ang ginagawa namin is ikinokollect namin siya into waste bottles. We call those waste bottles kasi pwede natin din yun gawing subject of research, the chemical waste na napoproduce, we can also use that for subject of research. Like for example, for assays of germination, we can use that. So pwedeng may gamit pa yon. Pero ang iniiwasan talaga natin doon is makasira tayo or makaapekto tayo ng environment or makasira tayo ng property sa school. Okay, so yun yung iniiwasan natin. Kasi these chemicals, hindi nga natin alam yung pwede maging effect niyan sa ating bodies of water. Okay, so if you're not familiar, don't throw it down the sink. Especially acid. Yung acid kasi matutunaw niya yung mga pipes. So don't throw it down the sink. What you can do is dilute it. Okay, dilute it ng sobra-sobra para sure ka na pag tinapon mo yun sa sink, hindi siya masyado makaka-harm ng pipes or ng environment. Okay? Next, fix leaks or drips in pipes. So basically, pag alam nyo na pong may sira ang mga tubo na nagkikerry ng water papunta sa bahay nyo, you have to contact authorities na pwedeng mag-ayos noon or you have to kumbaga you can also opt to kumbaga paayos, okay? Mag-hire ka ng someone na aayos ng pipes nyo kasi itong mga leaks na to o yung mga small na damages na yan sa pipes, kung mapapansin nyo medyo humina yung water pressure sa bahay nyo, ganyan. Yung mga small damages na yun, pag pinatagal mo yan let's say ng taon or ng buwan, malaki na yung gastos mo doon. Bukod sa malaking gastos mo doon, malaki yung mawawala sa iyo. Okay, malaki yung mawawala sa availability ng ating fresh water. Okay, kasi nga ano siya eh, kahit na leak yun na small or yun nga, patak-patak lang siya sa una. Syempre pag in-accumulate mo yan, ilang gallons din yung nawala sa iyo. Malaking volume din of water yung nawala sa iyo. Okay, so basically gano'n. Okay, sige Zygo, you can ask a question.
Sir, regarding the leaks or drips in pipes, is it also possible for chemicals to be carried in because of yung parang rust po, ganun?
Oh yeah, pwede din. What's more possible then is, for example, you have an opening or a leak in your pipe and then it's near the septic tank or near the pipes which carry septic material. So, pwede ding mag-infiltrate yung material from the septic tank papunta dun sa water na nag-carry dun sa ng fresh water papunta sa bahay niya. So that's a danger then. It poses a health hazard for not just you and your family, but also to the other families na connected dun sa system ng fresh water. So possible din yon that yung mga chemicals or other biological hazards can pass through those leaks. So it also poses a danger. So that's correct, Zai. Okay, so
thank you, sir.
More importantly nga, it wastes water din. So yun yung medyo highlight natin dito. But yes, that's also an indirect effect of the fix or of the leaks or the drips. Okay, yung mga damages sa pipes na yan. So malaking danger talaga siya and malaking kawalan talaga siya sa atin. Okay? Next is water efficiency and driving less. So water efficiency, tinutukoy natin dito yung appliances which are water efficient. Hindi naman kayo fina-force, okay? But if you can find appliances that are water efficient. Actually, meron niya mga yan. Usually, medyo binoboast pa nga yan ng mga companies na gumagawa ng mga appliances na yun. So, for example, washing machines or kung may dishwasher man kayo sa bahay, yung mga ganon, those appliances, may mga appliances na ganon na water efficient na in which they use less water pero nagfa-function pa rin siya ng maayos. Okay? So, basically ganon, no? So, if you can find appliances which are water efficient, mas better. And if you can afford them and use them, mas better. But if you can't, okay lang din. If you can do the other things, di ba, yung mga useless or fix leaks or keep harmful substances, that's fine enough. Okay? This is just an optional thing. Okay? What else? Driving less. Okay, ito din, kumbaga medyo optional. If kaya naman na lakarin na lang or kaya naman na e-bike na lang or something like that, mag-choose na lang kayo to do that because driving actually contributes then to, of course, pollution in the air as well as water pollution because the exhaust nga daw can settle to bodies of water. Okay? So, maka-affect din yun sa bodies of water natin. So, yung availability, pag siya ay masyado na polluted, hindi na natin yun magagamit. So, bawas na kagad yung availability ng tubig natin. Okay? So, besides, it's also an exercise for us, di ba? So, if we drive less, we try to exercise more like biking or walking, mas makatulong din sa health natin. Okay? So, those are just some simple ways which you can do in order to conserve and protect our water resources. More specifically, freshwater resources. Okay? Okay, so do you have any questions?